Hey, good morning and welcome to Hobby Evolution episode 150, the 150th episode of Hobby Evolution. What's crazy is I didn't think I would get far into it by doing it every day. I've only missed one day. So 150 out of 151 days, I've been recording a Hobby Evolution. I skipped one day. I went down to visit my brother and some family over the summer at his cabin on the river down in Illinois. So that was one day that I missed. Was a Sunday. So 150 out of 151 days, and we'll keep it rocking. So the only thing I really wanted to touch on today, being a Monday, no mail on Sunday. Actually, yes, I did get some mail. So one of the last things I've been waiting for was I ordered some back issues from Pro Wrestling Illustrated. Now, I ordered these. I had to go look at my PayPal to see because it looked like the order was wrong when I went through and sorted them out. So I went through my PayPal and I actually made the order like November 12th, 14th, somewhere in there. It was mid-November I made this order. I ordered 20 back issues of Pro Wrestling Illustrated from their website, from the publisher. Didn't show up. So finally, like, I waited about a month before reaching out, and maybe 3 weeks. And I reached out. I just asked, hey, has this been shipped? You know, what's the status on this order? Because I received no confirmation. I received nothing. It was just, you pay on PayPal, and I gave them, $100, and that's it. And that concerned me a little bit. So I waited like 3 weeks, didn't show. And this was before, this was when I reached out the first time. It was like the very beginning of all the post office delays. So we're talking like December 5th, 6th, 7th, somewhere in that range. So ghost, nothing, didn't hear back. It's like, I just gave these guys $100 3 weeks ago. They didn't give me a confirmation, didn't give me anything. It was just, I paid, boom, they'll magically show up in a month. So I was a little peeved about the lack of communication, lack of confirmation. So I reached out. I waited a few more days. I've been very patient. I waited a few more days, reached out again, and threatened to charge back my order because nothing had shown up. I received no confirmation. I received no response from my initial email. So finally, I did get a response. They claimed the magazines were shipped November 25th, and just wait because the post office is under delay. Okay. I wait a few more days, still nothing. I reach out again. I said, hey, this still hasn't shown up. What's the tracking number? Then they get back and claim, let's wait till the end of the year. And then we can talk about it. It's like, are you kidding me? They said they didn't have it. They couldn't do tracking numbers. And it's like, even if you ship, you're not supposed to ship magazines media mail, but most do. If you ship media mail, you still get a tracking number. So no matter how you send it, because it's going to be heavy enough, it will get a track. The only mail that won't have a tracking number is, a PWE. Off the top of my head that I can think of. So I waited. I'm like, fine, I'll just wait till December 31st or whatever. So I heard the mail truck yesterday, and box was on my doorstep. It was the magazines. They finally arrived. I went through and I had duplicates of like 3 or 4 magazines. And I looked at my order form that they sent, the the order sheet, and the number matched, but everything was off. But then I looked closer, and they had like duplicate orders. So that's when I had to go back in my PayPal and look. And I had ordered 20 magazines. They sent 23. So they actually sent me extra copies of the magazine. So I reached out. emailed the guy who had been responding. I said, hey, by the way, magazines were delivered this weekend. Thanks. I may wait because there are a few more that I want to order, but I will probably wait before I put any additional orders in because their system, frankly, it sucks. Zach's with me. What's up? Some mail guy read all of those issues, guaranteed. Yeah, right. Herm, what's up? Good morning. So the only I forgot about that happening yesterday. The only other thing hobby related yesterday, I shipped a ton. I finally at like 6 p.m. Sunday night was caught up on my eBay shipments that I started on Saturday morning. I had some auctions end last night, some buy it nows overnight, so more shipping, but not 128 or whatever I woke up to on Saturday. So that's what I did yesterday. That's what encompassed my entire day. So yesterday I was talking about starter jackets, and in my Orlando Magic starter jacket that I rocked in the 90s. And I saw Ken Bean's ball card blog posted that he enjoyed when I talked about nostalgia because we're about the same age. So I had this case next to me, and I thought, hey, that's perfect because this will tie into our 90s nostalgia. So when I pick up Craigslist, when I buy Craigslist collections and Facebook Marketplace, there's always what I enjoy is there's a lot of junk era. There's a lot of junk wax in these collections because everybody had cards in the late 80s, early 90s. But there's also usually some cool oddball stuff that I find. And it seems like every collection has, your standard 88 to 92 baseball, but sometimes there's some like random stuff. And so this was one of the collections. It came in one of these, fancy, I hate these, by the way. I have like boxes of these. So if you do like these, I can send you a box. Just pay the shipping cost because I freaking hate these. I don't use them. I just throw them on the side and put them in a box. So this is calling cards. Remember calling cards? So these are all like 1 minute calling cards. And these are from, I don't know if Classic made these, but it was a deal with Sprint. Scoreboard in collaboration with Sprint made these. And I'm guessing this is like early to midnight. Well, probably 95. This one expires March 31st, 96. That's Isaiah. Don't call me J.R. Ryder. Remember him? He was from UNLV. I think he was a first-round pick for the Timberwolves in, 93? He won the slam dunk competition in, 93, 94 with the East Bay Funk Dunk. We always tried to mimic the East Bay Funk Dunk in the backyard when we would lower our hoops to 6 or 8 feet. None of us were athletic. Small town, rural, white kids with limited basketball skills. So J.R. Ryder, Isaiah J.R. Ryder, East Bay Funk Dunk. Dikembe Mutombo, most known now as the commercial guy, is it Geico, I think. Dikembe Mutombo, he had like multiple middle names. I remember that as a kid growing up. And going back to J.R. Ryder's East Bay Funk Dunk, remember the East Bay magazines? So East Bay magazine, this is why I got poor grades in school, because study hall in junior high, if I wasn't going through the East Bay magazine, circling stuff I wanted, I would make brackets for my NBA Live 95 Sega game. But the East Bay Funk Dunk. So East Bay was, if you're not familiar, East Bay was like a catalog that they would send. You could like send in a postcard and get it without buying anything. But then if you bought something, they would send you. In fact, if you ordered something from 1995, you're probably still getting the East Bay magazine. They're here in Wisconsin. I think they're based out of like Wausau or Stevens Point, somewhere up north of where I'm at in Madison. But East Bay magazine, when I was in junior high, that was like the thing. and it was kind of a status symbol if you were the first to get the latest issue. And I lived in a small town, so it kind of varied, but it was usually within like 3 days. But sometimes you got the magazine first, so in study hall, it's like, oh, I haven't seen the new one. Can I see that? So it was kind of like, haha, I got the East Bay magazine first. Zach says, I just got an East Bay mag the other day. I swear it was from a Fanatics order and they sold my details. Oh, absolutely. I'm sure they did. That is awesome. I have not seen an East Bay magazine in at least 10 years. I remember seeing one 10, 15 years ago and not realizing they were still in business. And I think they still are. I'll have to look them up. But yeah, going through the East Bay magazines. East Bay has a call center in so it's Oshkosh. Okay, I knew it was up north somewhere. My girlfriend in college worked there. It was a great job for college kids. East Bay is out of Wausau. Okay, so East Bay is in Wausau, and then call center in Oshkosh. Awesome. I knew it was north central Wisconsin. Kajana Carter. He was the number 1 overall pick, running back out of Penn State, first overall pick, Cincinnati Bengals, and he appears on this calling card. You can get one, so it's $1. So the Mutombo and Ryder, those were 1 minute, so you could only make 1 minute calls. I'm not sure what long distance cost in 1995, 96. 15 cents a minute, 10 cents a minute, probably. So with $1, this is like 10 minutes worth of calling your girlfriend in the neighboring town that probably didn't exist. You just say it to sound cool. Some hockey. I don't even know who these guys are. It's on the front. Peter Sikora. Who else we've got? Jeff O'Neill. Never heard of him. Marshall Falk. I don't know if I've shared my Marshall Falk story. I probably have. When he was with the Rams. Mike Mamula. If I've not shared my Marshall Falk story, let me know and I'll talk about it tomorrow. Ricky Waters. Remember him for the 49ers in the early 90s. This is Stan Humphries. I think he was the quarterback in the Super Bowl when the Chargers played the 49ers. Speaking of, William Floyd of the Niners. Joey Galloway, Seahawks wide receiver. Here's another Kajana Carter, different image. So this must be a rookie card, Kajana Carter. Rookie calling card. Andre Rison. So back in the day, for kids that don't know what a calling card is, when we had landline phones, before cell phones, you had to pay money and your monthly phone bill to call long distance. And what's crazy, like where I grew up, Steve Berline, where I grew up, it was long distance to call. The Kewanee, I think, was long. I know Kewanee was long distance. And they were like 12 miles away, but you could call I can't remember there was like a city that was like 5 miles away that was long distance, but then there was a city like 20 miles away that was not long distance. I can't remember. It's been too long. Ben Coates. So you picked up the phone and you dialed like you would a normal number, but then you were billed at the end of the month. So we got in trouble in junior high when we started hanging out with females from Kewanee, the neighboring town, and we were at my friend's house, and we would call and talk for hours. And my friend's mom got like a $600 phone bill, and we're talking phone bills back then, I don't know, $40. So that ended our our phone call dates with the girls from Kewanee. Steve Bono, Rodney Hampton, and then also big in this era was I think it was probably a little after this, like probably this era, 96, 97, was the collect call, 1-800-COLLECT, call ATT, all of those. Heath Schuler, he was another quarterback bust. Heath Schuler, was he out of Florida? I think he was a Florida Gator. And then another J.R. Ryder. Zach says, I've not shared the Marshall Faulk story. Add it to the whiteboard. Dial down the center. Yeah. Okay, I am adding Marshall Faulk story to my whiteboard. Marshall Faulk story. Maybe I tweeted about it. So tomorrow I'll talk about my Marshall Faulk story. It's not like a great story, but it's just kind of it's a story. It's my Marshall Faulk story. I'd say I brushed shoulders with him, and I kind of did literally. So that was the calling cards. Alf was shilling 1-800. Yeah, he was shilling. Was it call ATT or 1-800-collect? They were on a lot of when I taped wrestling. My neighbor taped wrestling in the between like 96 and 98. That was like every commercial block had, 1-800-collect. The next one was 1-800-call ATT. They were on all of those wrestling programs. So that's it for today. I appreciate it. Zach Herman, thanks for stopping by, chatting along. I still have one outstanding mail package that I think was shipped like December 12th. That's still out there. Tracking hasn't moved, so I'll have to open a lost mail claim on that one. That's my Ed Howard cards. So that's lost in the mail. So I don't know if I'll be getting any mail today. So we'll see. So that's it. Check out the blog, 1millioncubs.com. eBay store link, top of the page, 1millioncubs.com. Some basketball auctions ending this week, so check those out. Twitter is at 1millioncubs. And I appreciate you watching along. Have a great Monday.